But I didn't. I've lost sound. I don't hear anybody.
We can do this downstairs. Okay? No, so.
Yep. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. We should get going. Quorum check. In the room is me, Bill, John, Craig, and Chris. Right. Frank is excused. And Brad is excused. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. Public comment period for items not on the agenda. Anybody have anything to talk about that's not listed on the agenda? Not seeing any on Zoom? Nope. Okay, we'll move on. 26 Quarry Road. This is a sketch plan review with seeker.
Yep.
Right.
So this is a sketch plan review for purposes of seeing if the lot can be subdivided, potentially subdivided into 3 lots. And this is to apply section 270-6.7 of our code. So the applicant Buzz Delph is here. Want to come up to the table there?
All right. Do I have to talk? Long time no see. Some of you guys never seen some others. So I'm assuming you guys are looking at the map that I drew feebly. I've lived at 26 Quarry Road for, I don't know, 35 years, I guess. Built a lot of houses in Dryden. Effectively been involved with the property my whole life, my wife and I are gonna reach a point here, unfortunately not very far from now, where we don't want to go up and down stairs. So I have a cottage in the back that we have used for vacation rental stuff. And I want to put a permanent residence, probably the last house I will build. And that's basically it. I think I can do, according to Ray, I think I can do what we're talking about here. You know, divide it up with buildable lots. Septic systems, 100, you know, and wells and all the rest of it, and that's pretty much it. I'm just want to build another house, one more. And
So you can see as far as the Balkan area requirements, he has 3.37 acres, so he has the 1 acre minimum per lot. He has 309 feet of frontage, so he has enough for a standard lot and 2 flag lots.
Is there anything complicated about this?
Nope.
Yeah, and there's no,
This is how we apply our section 6.7. It needs a site plan review to certify that it can be divided and potentially subdivided into 3.
I have one
Has her
question.
hand up, she's the recording secretary.
Troy, do you have your hand up?
Hey, can anybody hear me? We have a really bad connection. I am
Yeah.
hearing like every other word and it's freezing.
We can hear,
Anybody else at home having this problem? I mean, on Zoom?
We're okay with the volume.
It says internet is unstable.
sounds like it's at your end.
Green lights also.
Joy, we can hear you just fine. It sounds like it's at your end.
Huh. Anybody else on Zoom? Who else is on Zoom? Marie?
It's fine.
We're- Yeah, we're okay.
Yeah, Marie can hear okay.
So it must be me.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, well, hopefully the recording will pick up.
Okay. All right. Back to this. Other questions. So there's no variances or anything needed for this, right? Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
This is simply a sketch review.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it looks okay to me.
Sharing driveways and
Yeah. Nice hand-drawn sketch, by the way. Better than a lot of the ones.
Well, it wasn't free, and at least I got a scale out. you
that's
know,
cool.
but
Yeah, I mean, it's got.
I think I used a jar to draw the 150.
Have you talked to the health department yet?
What's that?
Have you talked to the health department about?
No, but I don't think their regs have changed. It's an acre and
I
a
don't think
hundred,
I have a problem up there.
yeah, 150-foot
Okay.
circle and,
Yeah, no,
and,
it's-
you know,
it's fine.
if they have issues with the soil, I have to deal with that.
Yeah, just do
Other
built
than
up
that, yeah.
system, yeah.
So you'll have to do a seeker to. do
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
We do
Any,
have to-
any other questions from the board?
So can we do seeker and then waive
Yep.
further proceedings?
Yep.
No, I thought you had a question before we started having that technical issues.
Well, I was just wondering when the zoning is gonna catch up with the. Because
Well,
that
we
setback.
We are
rules
in
and
the
all that.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny you should.
Pardon my
mention
French with bullshit
Yeah.
that comes
We are-
along with
If
this.
you wanna wait a year, it might
that. If
change.
you want to wait a year.
No, I don't wanna wait a minute. That's the thing. I don't want to subdivide it yet, but you know,
Yeah.
I.
Oh, you don't,
We are just, so we did the comprehensive plan, we've had an audit done, and we are now just starting a project to rewrite zoning for the towns, but that's, you know, that's gonna happen over the next year or so. So it's coming, but it's
Yeah.
not there yet.
I mean,
So, and these are the kind of things we're gonna be looking.
if there's anything that I can do.
Yeah.
You probably don't want me to do anything, given my history, but if there's anything that I can do to help move that stuff along, I would love to.
Okay, we should be able to run through this pretty quick. Will the proposed action create material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No.
no.
Will the proposed action result in a change or use or intensity of use of land? Small.
No,
No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No.
no,
Will the proposed action have an impact on environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of critical environmental areas? No.
no,
Will the proposed action result in adverse change the existing level of traffic?
no,
Nope. Proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No.
no,
Will the proposed or proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies or public or private wastewater treatment facilities. It will, but it's small, right?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of historic, archaeological, architectural, aesthetic resources? No. Will proposed action result adverse change to natural resources? Wetlands, blah, blah, blah. No.
No,
Will the proposed action result in increased of potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
no,
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
no.
All right. So I move that we have a negative declaration on seeker.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passed unanimously, Joy. And do we want to approve the sketch plan and waive further site plan review?
I would, yeah.
I'll second that.
Second that, John seconds. All in favor?
Any discussion? All in
Any
favor?
discussion? All in favor? Yeah, so-
Aye.
All right, okay. You're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
There's no filing of a map or signing of a map. This is just on the record.
Right, and I'm gonna reflect this with a determination that you will then record in the title record. So it'll show that this has been passed and approved for 3.
Okay,
So I will get you that within the next week.
okay. And then I have to record that?
Yep.
Or, oh, okay. So there is something to be recorded, but not the map.
Not a map.
And that's that. Okay,
And then when you're ready to subdivide, that's the county assessment.
excuse me?
When you're ready to actually subdivide,
Yeah, but I don't, would we? Yes, of course. I mean, subdivision map, right?
Yeah,
right.
Creating a new lot, but.
Right.
Yep.
We'll see.
Good luck. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. 1274 Dryden Road has been dropped from tonight's agenda.
Yeah, they'll
correct?
probably come back in March. They're just doing a
Okay.
change in their engineer architect, so they just need to
Okay,
review it a little.
so that one's dropped for tonight
Correct.
or postponed, however we want to say it. 478 Lower Creek Road, site plan review for special use permit with recommendation to the town board.
Okay, so you're up. So this is a proposed, in an existing business park, just a part of the building is being used for a new business for cannabis drying operation, basically. And this will be a special use permit for the town board. The town board has already scheduled a hearing for the March 20th meeting. And so this is just asking for your recommendations on this site plan. John Burris is the owner of the building and
Lawrence Ludwig, the tenant.
Lieutenant.
Thought I'd have him come, so if you had any questions for him, he's here. Good evening.
Okay. Go ahead. You have questions?
No, I was gonna
I thought you
wait,
were
but
gonna
I
say
thought they were gonna
Oh.
do their little.
Yeah, do you want to just go do a quick sort of description of what you're doing?
Yeah, we're low impact cannabis processing. We're very, probably 4 or 5 employees at max. We'll be processing just using cold water, no volatile solvents or anything. Really low model as far as volume, not like the hemp farms that kind of brought in thousands and thousands of pounds and, impacted with smell. Our smell is mitigated. We have filters that filter, turn the air over about once every minute in the 5,000 square feet. No water that touches the cannabis is run down the drain. We have cold water we use. It's my wife and I who own the business. We sell locally to the stores here in Ithaca. We plan on bringing, this isn't Cheech and Chong anymore. So, we plan on bringing cosmetics and, potentially beverages, but really, it's just extracts and, medicine. It is medicine for a lot of people. But on the recreational side, we follow all the Office of Cannabis Management's criteria. My wife and I just secured a compliance team that we're paying, quite a bit of money, so, they. Have us, dotting every I, crossing every T. And yeah, compared to other light industrial, operations in the area, we're really low impact. You could say we're green, but as far as like energy use is sound, it's all kept to a dull roar. And yeah, our throughput volume, you're talking about hundreds of pounds a week rather than thousands. Everything is vacuum sealed and brought to us from the farm, so there's no exposed smells. Very low impact on as far as vehicles. I think my wife and I plus 2 other people will be able to do most of the packing and packaging. And yeah, we hope to get it,
You're
be
also,
part of this.
you have a license in the state of New York.
Oh yeah, we're licensed, absolutely, licensed with the state of New York.
I gave a copy to Ray.
My wife and I have
Gina.
been, yep, my wife and I have been working at scale with the state of New York since their academic program in 2017 through the hemp programs. We've navigated all the, ups and downs with all that, and now that the OCM really kind of wasn't the best turnout, I would say, on their end, but we all work together, and birthing a new thing is never pretty, so I don't disparage them at all, but we've had ups and downs, and now that's just a lot of people doing a lot of good things in the cannabis space in New York, and we hope to pick up where they left off.
That's pretty much it.
Questions from the board?
So we're not changing as far as the site, nothing at all being changed. Not
Right,
even-
yeah, that's what I was
not even
looking
on the
at.
inside.
Yeah.
It's already.
Yeah.
It's all light industrial.
All
So
like.
so there's no new driveways, no new lighting, no
None.
new,
Zero.
everything
We're
else
spending
is already
$0.
existing.
Everything is already there because I've been there for 45 years, long time. And we have commercial lighting because of what do you call them? Those, the exhaust that people steal, the.
Oh, catalytic converters?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I had special lighting put in, so we've had no issues since then. That's a couple of years ago. So you literally, we're not spending any money on any site work at all. It's all there. It's just a new tenant, and it's gonna do light industrial, taking raw material, exactly what's within my parameter of doing. That's pretty much it.
And this is going in that building that goes along the back fence?
Yes, it's, we call it building 1, the one that runs along Route 13,
Yep, got it.
my original building.
Yep.
Can I ask what was in the building before?
There used to be a bike assembly company was one of my tenants,
Mhm.
dog grooming.
We're in the dog
Company.
room, yeah.
You're in the dog grooming.
It's been storage, it's because over the last 30 years, there's been a few different tenants.
Mhm.
I wish it was just one, but that's
Yeah, the nature of it, yeah.
the nature of it.
So what do you anticipate for truck traffic?
For household, sedans, regular household cars. As far as trucking, we have a licensed distribution that comes in and no bigger than a van. Again, you're talking about materials that are locked away and vacuum sealed that could fit in the
Number of trips,
What's that?
number of trips a day or?
Oh, no, I'm maybe 1 or 2 a week.
Okay.
Our main farm is in Newfield, and it's probably twice a week. Probably 2, 3,
So less traffic than the last tenant,
Yeah.
really.
Mhm.
and there's trucking there still from
Yeah.
years ago.
Other questions?
The only other one would be the disposal of your trash.
Oh, yeah, we worked, as per OCM's guidance, we have lockable receptacle, dumpsters, and then the dumpster, Casella will have a key to it, we have a key to it, and that's about it.
Okay.
Most of the actual refuse, we process it right down,
Yeah, there's
It's
not much.
graded.
As much as possible.
Yeah, it's graded for A, B, and C, and C I can actually go back to the farm and we can actually put that back into our inputs for growth. Pesticides, animal bedding, there's all sorts of stuff.
Where did? Where on the site would the lockable dumpsters be sitting?
Right at the end of the building. So if you're looking at the building, the space is on the. I get mixed up,
West.
south side or west side.
Oh, you're
And
right,
there's-
east, yeah.
It's gonna be right outside the door there.
So if you're standing looking at the front of the building to the right,
To the left,
to the left, this end of the building, okay.
the opposite end of
Yeah.
of looking towards Dryden.
Got it. Okay, so recommendations to the town board. I think what I'm hearing is we're gonna move to. That the SUP be approved.
Yeah, I would just-
Standard recommendation, what's the word I want? Standard conditions,
Conditions, yeah,
standard conditions apply.
yeah, they might want to add where the dumpsters are gonna go to the site plan.
Yeah,
You
I
might want to draw it.
would recommend adding where the dumpsters are gonna go to your site plan
Absolutely.
before it goes before the town board.
I'll send that to Ray.
So I move that we make that recommendation to the town board that SUP be approved with standard conditions and they add the dumpsters to the site plan.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous, Joy. Good, thank you, good luck.
Appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you.
Yep.
Have a good night.
Cheech and Chong will not be at the grand.
Leave it open, we'll leave it open. Thanks,
Okay, thank you, have a good night. 933 Dryden Road, Marna Auto. Reintroduction of expansion.
So this was something that came before the board probably 5 years ago now. Yeah. you can come on up.
6 years, to say.
6 years,
Yeah,
okay.
it was a while ago, I know that.
I think we came in here in 2019 in the fall and
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Something
been a
like
while.
that. Wow, it has been a while.
Okay.
sure my.
Yeah, John Snyder, architect, is gonna be able to share the map up on the screen and you'll see how constrained the lot is. So basically, we have a few different things going on here. We need variances to cover both the lot coverage and setbacks, and there's also an SUP required since the building goes over 5,000 square feet. So it's starting here just to kind of think through the path forward and to see if there's any improvements to be made and recommendations to be made to the various follow-on bodies, town board and CPA that will be dealing with the decisions. Don't give it time.
I did.
Okay.
Like,
I've seen it.
This to full screen. Sorry for the graphic quality. It looks better on my screen than it does on yours, but thanks for everyone's time tonight. So as Ray indicated, we're back again. We're here to kind of talk through what the process might look like and talk about our project and kind of work collaboratively with you folks to see what's possible here. The site is actually, there's a parcel across the street, which is parcel A here, which that has been, since we last met, that has been consolidated with the primary site, which is directly across the street. Yeah, wow. Apologize for the graphics, it looks better on my computer. But yeah, so that's the parcel A across the street, parcel B is here. For these have been consolidated. The existing footprint of the Varna Auto is in this lighter orange color. And we're proposing the addition off to this side, which would require digging into the bank on the side. And a retaining wall that we are proposing along this side. All of that has not really changed from the earlier submission that we had sent in. Yeah, apologies. So there's other buildings on the parcel B site to point out, there's a multiple dwelling here in the back. And then this area here, this building here is currently being used as storage. Our plan is to essentially have 2 more bays added here for vehicle maintenance. And also another bay coming in from the back here for vehicle maintenance. There's presently some bays, access to the bays here in this area. And in the corner here, there's storage space and office space and a waiting area up here in the front. We would have some parking allocated here and then also parking allocated along the side of the building. And then we would allocate parking here for the tenants that reside in this building here. And then parcel A would continue to house the vehicles before and after they've been serviced.
And that is it, that residential property is a duplex, correct?
Yes.
So what, you have 4 spaces, I think, for that, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That is what we are showing.
Yep. Yeah.
4 places. This is a rendered view of the proposed renovation. We're looking at, the 2 bays here on the end that we would be adding. You're seeing that retaining wall that kind of peeks out here. We are showing a kind of dedicated spot for some trash storage here with gates and enclosure. And we are planning on re-facading the building to give it a much better aesthetic. So this is our suggestion for that new facade. I'm still working through materials, but we're looking at a lower stone band that would wrap around. And then some kind of siding material on the upper area. Again, we haven't finalized anything. Some very grainy elevations, which,
I know on the projector, they don't look as good, I know, but yeah, it's,
but again, these are kind of the straight on views of the different areas. The front facade is on the top, side facade is on the bottom. And, this is the rear facade. This is the new bay area that we're adding along the side of the building with the retaining wall. And then these are the 2 existing garage bays that you access the building. And this view here is just the view of looking at it from that upper bank, just showing what that view might be of that building. The idea is to add some plantings along this edge and kind of make that view kind of disappear a little bit. I'm not going to go through our narrative information. You already have all of that. So I guess, that's the brief presentation I have for you folks. We're just here tonight to kind of test the waters and see what our approval process might look like so that we could come back with better plans and more information for you all.
When you say the properties have been consolidated, does that mean that there is one lot that includes the properties on both sides of the street?
They've been consolidated as one tax parcel.
So it's one lot.
That's one lot.
on both sides of the street, huh? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that lot has been used since day one.
Yeah, yeah.
I bought it in different time.
Right.
So it's not in the same deed. The last time is it cannot combine two together.
Right.
So now we combine in the same team.
So the lot coverage calculations and so forth are based on the combined areas on both sides of the
I
street.
think you're looking at the lot area coverage that we had prior to the consolidation. So those calculations that you have before you are not the combined lot. I believe.
Because the lot across the street is in a different district. So that's why they're, even though the lots meet at the center line, they're in two different zoning districts. So the 0.7 acres on the business side is the calculation for the getting to that 23% coverage. And that's where it's deficient. 40% required.
So is that something that would require zoning variance or something we have to?
Yeah, because I think,
Zoning
I
variance.
think that's the best way to deal with it is a zoning variance.
So the road up. Like this you have a driveway next to your property, right?
Yeah,
Where
it's
the
gradual
retaining
drive.
walls.
Yeah.
Is that a driveway or a road, or is that just accessing?
Along the side right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
That's the road to the trade park.
Yeah.
it is one of the roads in there.
Yeah. Mhm.
We're not affecting the road, but we still some green space.
And you're just gonna have a shrub barrier there for
Yeah, we're gonna have a planted barrier. there.
planter barrier, no wood railing or anything to try to.
We'll have to have some kind of railing or some kind of, especially when we get back into this area, we'll have to have a railing.
Something to
Fall
keep-
protection.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah. So that'll be
And
included.
that'll follow the grade in that area too, so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we'd want to show that. Any changes to signage or anything along those lines?
There is an existing sign that's out here presently, and I think the plan was to kind of dress that up a little bit.
That's when you go for the full site plan review, that's something that should be included as
If you're gonna keep it, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
not noting what signage is there. And
Yep.
also lighting, if there's any changes to lighting.
Currently, we have pretty good lighting. We paid for NICE to put up for the projecting one. So that was pretty good lighting.
So you're using,
Both sides.
you're using,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
using the pole lighting, no new lighting on the building or anything like that.
No, the only thing on the building might be some security lighting
Right,
around
yeah.
back, just, around perhaps for after hours access that would just turn on.
Yeah, the lighting had converted problem on previous people. We put out the big line assisting in the auto repair shop and we do a car keeping them. So with security camera and with
Mhm.
Any changes in things like hours of operation or anything along those lines?
No.
Other questions?
So the lot across the street, it's currently used for
As I-
bus stop
as I
as well,
said,
right?
It's I use it since day one, but before I rented this Cornell lot, Cross
Mhm.
Street, I rented for Cornell. And about 20 years ago, I bought it from Cornell, but I did not consider it in the same deal
Mhm.
because it purchased two different times.
But what are your questions?
Is
It's not
it-
a parking right now. It's not a parking right.
It's not a parking right anymore? It's
It's
not,
for all
okay,
private.
Yes,
because it used to be, right?
that was that's a wrong information. I've been
Gotcha,
told
I gotcha.
past, yeah, that's
So
not.
you're gonna have pedestrian, or your customers are gonna park over there as well,
That's for my customer.
for your
only.
customers? are
Yeah,
gonna
not
park-
for anybody else.
Okay, so we have to treat that as a parking lot.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna walk across the street. Have you talked to DOT about a crossing or anything?
We've been
That wasn't the issue.
That might be a nightmare, but
They never
Yeah.
happened. So that was-
they won't have a.
Well, I hope it happened. Because
Right.
When they did the repaving, they did a traffic study apparently, which was probably observing it for X number of hours, and they deemed that it did not have sufficient use to put in a crosswalk. Those discussions are continuing to try and
Well, they need to let you know so you can go walk across the road a lot.
For the last 3 years, I really know that bugging, but it's not happening yet. We hope happening soon.
So what are you gonna put some screening up for the parking area or anything like, you're gonna?
well, currently there is a fence behind.
Behind, but I mean, in the front or
Because
anything?
When I purchase from Cornell, they want to make sure I don't use close to the creek.
Right,
So we put a fence.
Right.
So we don't use in a creek bank.
I was thinking,
Even I owns it, but we don't use it.
I was thinking more of the, from the street view back to look
Mhm.
back in there.
Some landscape
You
screen or
understand what I'm
something.
saying.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and then it's, right now it's just like one big entrance, isn't it?
Well, sort of, there's a bus stop in the middle of it.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like,
Ray was talking about when they put a crosswalk, am I thinking about moving the bus stop somewhere? I don't know.
Yeah, there's discussions between TCAT and DOT that I've not been privy to, so I don't know if they're considering moving the bus stop or not.
yeah, technically, there's a bus stop on both sides of the road there, right?
Right,
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Use, yeah.
we give them permission to use it.
but do we want to have them try to keep one entrance there or let it be a free for all? Be better as one entrance.
It would be nice if it would be better if it was one entrance, yeah.
With some screening maybe to hide stuff.
Okay.
That's that's where my head's going.
Yeah, looking at the way that's laid out, I'm looking at the Google Street View of that lot right now. And so you can see the bus stop and there's a smaller driveway that comes out to the left side. If you're looking at the bus stop that would be to the east side. So you're thinking that they should try to close that off and just use the main part there?
I'd let him figure it out.
Okay.
That's what he gets paid for.
Because of the bus moving in might be an issue. Because the bus is pulling in on that line. If you.
Oh, does the bus actually pull into the parking lot?
Yes,
Oh,
so that's the area.
Yeah,
where
they-
the bus.
the bus actually pulls in there and then
Yeah.
comes out the other side. Oh, I get it. All right, all right.
That's it, really? Wow.
I was thinking it stopped in front of it, but no.
You get paid by the trip then, right?
I sure hope so.
Well. It'd still be nice to try to limit.
Yeah.
So just to
Have like a single
clarify,
driveway.
is the bus pulling off, way off the shoulder, or are they turning around, circling around in your parking lot?
No,
Well, the bus stop, the ticket bus, sometimes do that, but mostly the school bus do.
Oh, okay,
The
School
school bus
bus,
use our
yeah.
parking lot is to
Mhm.
turn around.
okay.
Oh, for the school buses?
Yeah, the school bus, yes.
Hmm.
We support lots of public using their parking lot, that's for sure.
Well, they're gonna it's all gonna change, right?
Stay in charge them, and also
It-
the
it-
state trooper been parking there to get people too.
So it would be nice if you could figure out where the pedestrians are gonna cross and where the vehicles are
Okay.
gonna entrance. You know what we're talking about there. so-
Yep.
So there's no conflict between the two.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it relates to the vehicles going into the shop as well, you know, for crossings, so. At least that's my point, my thoughts.
Yeah, and it looks like there's an existing. That's the driveway.
That's the driveway, so
Yeah.
that's all getting cut out.
This is getting cut out here, yeah.
Went
Yeah.
Back into there.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, pretty.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with anybody else on. And I think if you could wiggle through the zone, the ZBA.
For me, if it weren't for the lot across the street, this would be a hard sell.
Yeah.
The lot coverage isn't even close. It's
Right.
way off, but I think having the property across the street be part of a lot is a mitigating circumstance. It would be a problem in the future if that got subdivided off and it wasn't there anymore.
For the parking.
How does that not happen?
You could make that condition on the SUP approval, that lot remains.
Yeah, I
attached to
think
the-
that's an important piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of the open space you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, I can look at the thing as one big lot. And in that case, the lot coverage issue goes away. And as long as it stays that way,
Mhm.
I think, where you're putting the addition, I think tucks it away in a place that, it's a good place to put it.
Do we know, are there any utilities that run along the side of the road there? Back into the trailer park?
Oh, up along that side?
Yeah,
I should know the answer to that. I know we've looked at it. I don't
I
think,
don't think there's any electrical, but there is a gas line
Mhm.
and water line. But I mean, of course, when we extend it, we will
Are they under the road or?
under
next to
the ground,
But are they under the road or under
in the green,
in the green area?
yeah,
the green
it is,
area.
yeah, in my property.
Yeah, so there'll be some coordination there with NICEAG on water on
Yeah.
that.
Cool.
It'll be a little tight through there.
I don't. Right.
So you're asking for a recommendation to ZBA for this too, or what?
Yeah, the ZBA and the town board, because the town board will have to approve the SUP for going above 5,000 square foot in building and barn.
They were not coming back to us then?
Not unless you'd like to see it.
No, that's fine, I think. So they could just, the recommendations would be. Make sure there's some sort of barrier up on the road,
Mhm.
so the, I guess that's east, right? Some sort of positive walkway between the parking between the parking lot across the street and then.
Yep.
Try to hide some of the parking on, I guess you call it B lot, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And a single access and entrance, is that what we're looking for? On that lot? as well? Ideally, if you could do it, just
Single point. yeah.
just, you're trying to make the pedestrians not involved with all the vehicle traffic is what, so,
Mhm.
yeah. And then John's stipulation of that lot B couldn't be built on.
No, that's lot A actually now, right? You said.
Yeah, lot A is across the street.
Okay, lot A.
Lot
lot A,
B
lot A.
is the existing,
Right, they can't be, as it stands with them together, then the space requirement is there, but if you separate them, then.
Yeah.
That lot B does not meet the.
You're using that for the open space
Yeah.
requirements.
Yeah.
So it can't be subdivided and it can't have a building on it.
Can't have a building
Right,
without changing the other use.
right.
That sound reasonable, right?
Yeah, so the SUP would be conditioned on the across the street remaining as the parking facility for this business.
For the
Mhm.
business and then for CDA, that would be the open space for the business.
That would be that mitigating
The mitigating,
factor.
Yep. Has ZBA looked at this yet or?
They have not.
Not yet, okay.
We have to make a recommendation.
Okay.
on it, too, so. Or maybe this is good enough for them.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I think what we're saying is we support this project, given what we just said there.
Yeah, we've done pedestrian, we've done traffic flow,
Yep.
we've done.
And the square foot thing of the building is fine with the extra parcel across the street.
What do you, so I mean, you're adding bays, so how much increase in traffic are you? Like how many more vehicles per day or anything like that?
Well, it's probably means increase 1/3,
Okay,
the capacity wise.
yeah,
And then you probably want to get approval from the fire chief. Put it on your list.
yeah,
Right now, of course, the business is not gonna increase overnight. It's gonna.
Right,
take-
right,
it's gonna
right.
take time, but right now, the main reason is our workflow, with better workflow for the guys in the shop.
Yep.
So we'll be separating,
Okay.
sketching different places, so right now be more better workflow for them.
okay. Anything else we need to do on this one?
Nope, would just be recommendations to those two bodies.
Recommendations are, we think it's okay, they can do it as long as with the conditions that we
Yep.
just mentioned, right?
Okay. So the recommendation will go to both of them,
Right,
same recommendation.
same recommendation.
Yep.
Is that something we should vote on?
Probably.
I'll move it,
Well, second,
second it. Any other discussion? All in favor?
right,
Okay. That's unanimous,
right?
Joy?
Thank you.
Thank you.
is that good?
Good.
Thank you for your time.
Good luck. Thank you. Good luck. Okay, 940 Irish Settlement Road subdivision with required area variance review and recommendation to ZBA.
Hey. Oh, yeah. You can
Good
As
evening.
host, you can probably stop that.
I wondered where we were, but anything ever happened here. Give me a holler. All right, sounds good. Thanks.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I just did it as co-host. So. Up at the top, it gave me the option. So Sean Carter is here, owns this large parcel that used to be in two. It was consolidated and he wants to break it back into two, but he has a frontage deficiency. So this is in a borderline area where neighborhood residential turns into conservation zone. So it's going from 150 frontage requirement to 250. So he's proposing to create a flag lot in there, as well as the parent parcel, which would only have 150 foot of frontage. Don't you have a map to put up there? Or you want to put up? Yeah. Because picture's worth 1,000 words.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, the parcel is 37 acres that borders Yellow Barn State Forest. And it's mostly forested. It's about 35 acres of forest that we manage under a forest and wildlife habitat plan. We're also maple syrup producers and grow log grown shiitake mushrooms under the farm name Sapwood. And we're one of only several properties in New York State that are certified as bird friendly by Audubon as a small scale maple syrup producer. I first bought the 33 acre parcel. We have two addresses, which is 924 Irish Settlement, which is accessed via a legal right of way over the former Van Pelt Road. That legal right of way has 60 foot of road frontage on Irish Settlement. Through an open development permit with the town, we installed a modular two-piece cabin a number of years ago and built a custom timber frame barn that we currently operate our operations from. And subsequently, several years later, the 4 acre parcel at 940 came up for sale, which previously had a home on it, a mobile home with a garage and some other auxiliary buildings that were in poor condition. So I purchased that property, consolidated the two parcels, and we demoed the mobile home, the garage, the former buildings, cleaned up a rural garbage dump, upgraded the culverts, the electrical service. There's a well and a septic system in place, so it's all set up for residential. So what I'm proposing to do is to move our two-piece modular cabin, which was built by Woodtex as a manufactured home in 2012, move that to the location of the former mobile home and build a small energy efficient home where the cabin now sits. So after consulting with Ray in the planning department, the best course of action is to create a flag lot and then request the area variance, as we have 181 feet of road frontage. And now that we're in the conservation district, we need 250. And the neighboring parcels to our west and across the street, we're at the Good Band Irish Settlement Community. There's many flag lots. In fact, there seems to be more flag lots and road frontage lots. So it certainly fits in with the neighborhood.
Where's what? Because in this map, I was just confused because you said the 4 acres was combined with the other one.
Yes,
So where's the actual proposed splits?
that's what's shown right here. So this lot is not ours, towards this one. This is the former road that we have the right of access on. So here's the main 33 acre parcel. This was the 4 acre parcel that connects to it.
Mhm.
And here's the flag lot that we're proposing.
Oh, that one, okay.
2 acre
Okay.
section. This is where the mobile home once sat, and we moved the cabin to, and then built the home where the cabin currently sits.
Okay, I was just confused on which split was old and which one is the new
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I know it. It's the surveyed map, so it shows the former lot lines.
So the ZBA needs to act on this to grant the frontage variance. They need a recommendation from the planning board before they do a variance that's related to a subdivision.
Questions from anyone? I'm looking at the lot lines.
I don't really have any lot of question. I mean, it is keeping with the neighborhood. It's similar.
Yeah, I think that's the main point here.
Yeah.
This route and by itself somewhere,
Right,
the
but
conservation, we probably wouldn't take a real positive view, but it's very consistent
What's there?
with their little,
What's there, yeah.
did you call it the Good Band neighborhood?
Yeah, the Good Band Irish Settlement neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Good Band Road there.
I think I actually saw that in a planning document.
Mm-hmm.
These must be flag lots back here, yeah.
Mhm.
Is that flag lot? No, how do you access that lot
And
back there?
Tony Spring just unmuted. I'm not sure if she's.
Oh,
I just wanted to say, thank you for putting all that effort into cleaning up that lot, and the Audubon distinction is really wonderful. So thank you for your commitment to the environment.
Oh, thank you.
yeah, I don't have any issues.
So the recommendation would be that it's consistent with the.
Consistent with the
with
area.
With the neighborhood,
Yeah.
existing neighborhood and. What? We don't feel that the subdivision would be, it would. be
Right. All he
would
needs
be
up-
Favorable.
Yeah, we recommend it get approved.
We recommend approval of the subdivision. And that the ZBA approve an area variance. I don't think we have any conditions, right? Because it's all pretty straightforward and it's consistent with the area.
And would you say that you're recommending the variance, acknowledging that it's substantial because it's 95 foot from a required 100 or 250 foot?
Mhm.
That's one of their criteria that they weigh against is how substantial is the
It is
variance.
substantial.
Usually it's 5 or 10%. This is more like 40%.
Yeah.
But despite that, it's still consistent with the
Still
neighborhood.
consistent with the
Consistent
neighborhood. Yeah.
With the other laws, yeah.
Yeah, so it is a substantial variance, but
Mhm.
it is consistent with the area. And we would still recommend that it be approved.
Great.
Right?
Yes.
Yep.
Is that a motion?
I'll move that. John seconds. Any other discussion? No, all in favor? Okay, Joy unanimous.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
And thanks for your efforts in that area.
Thank you.
Okay. Johnson Road, no address on Johnson Road. It's just Johnson. No. It does have an address?
162.
162 Johnson Road, okay. 162 Johnson Road. I was looking at this on Google Maps the other day.
Without an address?
Well, I knew where it was on Johnson.
So Mark Martinek is here with this proposal. He's working on behalf of Rick Bayo.
Rick Bale, ZBK Properties, yep.
And just has an idea for developing this lot for housing, and I'll let you introduce it.
Yeah, Rick really recently purchased this partly because the existing building that's there, we're gonna use for storage and partially for our carpentry shop. And with it, along with that building came the 10 acres. And he already has probably 8 or 10 existing rentals that he has right now. And he just thought it was, if there was an opportunity, we'd like to develop that 10 acres and put some duplexes or fourplexes in there and create some rental property. And this is just the introductory meeting to find out if that's something that is okay, or if it's not, or what I need to do to make it okay, I guess is where I'm at.
Okay.
I'm new at this, so bear with me.
You want it all on one parcel, or are you gonna subdivide it?
That's, these are the questions I don't know if we need to. I guess that's what I'm asking for, those recommendations. Like I said, I've not done this before. So Rick just has me checking to make sure if it's okay, if it's something that is available to happen. And then I can start working on what you need us to do.
Gina, you're bringing it up, right? On the
Yes.
thing, because I have it in front of me. Do you? So. First off, let's see, do we show where the buildings are gonna be on that lot? We
Existing
have that one.
building.
there's the existing building.
Yeah, that's the existing building in that right corner there, and then I did I handed in a couple drawings that are, I did one with a cul-de-sac with 8 buildings. One with Ray called it a hammerhead at the end for the,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the sketches.
Yeah. What I'm trying to bring up there for everybody is like where these buildings are gonna sit on the
Sit on the
property, because
property.
because there is a commercial property right next to it, which is, Cortland
right,
Produce.
right, so that was one idea that we had was a straight, tee off of Johnson Road with a hammerhead for the emergency vehicles to turn around. That's one option.
Yep, I have the other one, which is a sort of a loop. One is, this one is this one's more of a loop.
Yeah. And that was another idea.
I mean, as far as those are concerned, I would think the main thing is which is better for the fire department.
Correct. That's what Ray was.
Yeah.
When I met with Ray and Gina, that's what they suggested. So that was something we'd have to do in planning.
Yeah.
And these are all fourplexes, 2 stories high,
Yep,
right?
yep,
I saw the rendering of one of them.
yeah. Yeah, I researched, gave Rick some options. He said he wanted 2-bedroom, and then I gave him the options, and he liked the one that it's a 2-bedroom with, the apartments are all 2 bedrooms with bath and a half. He wanted a bath and a half in them, and so that's the one that I handed in with this paperwork.
And so these are the fourplex in this case is there's 2 apartments on the first floor and 2 apartments on the second floor.
Correct. Yes.
And another question in my head, I was looking at it on Google Maps. Hold on.
How do you handle water and sewer?
Those are all things we need to figure out. We haven't gotten that far. This is just the initial, if this is something that I can proceed with to find out what we need to do for sewer and water.
Have you looked at the new floodplain maps?
No. I haven't done a topographical of it yet, just to.
Yeah, because it looks like there's a wet spot on the east side of that property. Like a little small pond or something.
There's yeah. Have you
I'm
looked,
sorry, on the west side of the property, not the east side.
have you looked at any of the wetland maps, Ray, for this?
I
No.
haven't pulled it up, I think. We can show it here in a second.
Is that? Up the road from you, it's got some wetlands on it, so.
Well, behind, all back in here.
All
is
the back, yeah. Behind it.
Yeah, on the backside, there's a pond behind it.
There's
Yeah.
pond stuff. Across the street.
Across the street's a river.
That's pretty
Right.
wet.
Yeah, that's some.
Yeah, if you can, I don't.
At first take, when when Rick bought it and we walked it, I mean, driving the road, I had concern if it was low, but it's actually, when you walk it, you're actually above the road, almost most of that area that's closer to the existing building. It starts dropping off as it gets towards that pond on that left side of the map that we're looking at now, but I was pleasantly surprised about how stiff it felt walking through there, so.
Then you'll keep the existing building for your woodworking.
Yes, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'm concerned about is, what the wetland stuff, like, well, not just wetland, but drainage and.
Right.
And
They'll figure it out.
yeah, because
And that's right.
It's
It's just the-
I think, when you do a full site plan review on this, those are the kind of things you're gonna want to have included in there.
Okay,
Where is it in, like, look at the new floodplain map, see where it is in relation to that stuff.
Okay.
All that. Because that part of that area can get pretty wet. Right, well, mostly across the street and back in behind. I don't know about these particular lots on the corner, but.
Yeah, to John's point about the water and sewer, you might want to check with the health department.
Right.
The perk test and all that stuff to.
So that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's next steps. We just wanted to introduce this. That was Ray's advice to introduce this to you guys first before I started spending the money to make sure that it all
We're looking
works,
at-
so.
8 fourplexes. Okay, all right. That's a fair amount of water and sewer.
Yes,
Yeah, so and that's gonna be, I think that's gonna be one of your driving factors, how much water and sewer you
correct.
get there.
And I don't disagree with that. I mean, when I asked Rick what he wanted to try and do, he says, let's see if 8 goes, and if it doesn't, based on the factors that we're gonna find out,
Right,
we
right,
will have to adjust and see what we can do.
yeah. I mean, looks like a decent project.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, so I think those would be the main things to look at.
okay.
As you're getting ready to do site plan reviews. Those kind of things.
Okay. No, that sounds fine.
Is there, excuse me. Is there living space in the current building?
No,
Okay,
no,
I know there's a
it's.
a second floor. And I
Oops,
did-
sorry. The building itself is, I would say that 2-story end you're looking at, the bottom, the upstairs of that, there's actually. It's growing grapevines in it right now. Nobody's ever done anything to that upstairs. Rick actually asked me, I have to go up and take out the existing doors and board them up for right now, because he really doesn't want anything to have with that upstairs. Below that upstairs, it's insulated so that below that is the only heated area in that building, and we're using that for, shop purposes, for painting purposes, stuff that we can do in the cold weather and wet weather, so. But there's no living area. There is a toilet, there is a septic, and I do have water running there, so.
I do like the idea, I think we all like the idea that a single driveway or single road access,
Right,
single road cut, all that, yeah.
we thought that was the best way to go too,
Yep, okay.
okay?
What's that?
There's
Oh, this is the floodplain map? Oh, so it is outside the floodplain. Hard to see the yellow, but that's, yeah, okay. Other side of the road doesn't look so good.
No.
I guess that road kind of acts as a little bit of a dam there, doesn't
I
it?
believe that it is a buffer, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it seems to me, passing by that existing building, it is a slight uphill there.
Yes.
It does sit a little higher, yeah.
It does, and that's like I said, when he was proposing by and I kept driving by, I felt like it was low, and then when I got up there and actually got to the existing building and then walked it, it's much higher than what, it's not like 10 feet higher, but it's higher than what the road is, and I think that it felt more buildable to me than what I had originally thought, so.
Right. Okay.
So the next step's good to go?
Yeah, you get what you want?
What's that?
I said, did you get the information you got?
Yeah, that's, I semi understand all the rest of the next steps. I just, Rick and I wanted to make sure before we went to those that, this was a good start, that everybody was okay with
Yeah.
a project like this in that area, so. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Feel free to come back.
And
I'll be there.
it's zoned right for this, right? I mean, it's.
Yeah, so it'd be a special use permit.
It would be a special use permit,
Like
right? So it's gonna have to go through special use permit review.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, that's all good. Yep,
Perfect.
sounds good.
I appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And lady, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Yep, and being the last one. All right, zoning rewrite phase 1 scope. All right, so I sent out the document that Nan had sent us about her proposal for scope and cost of phase 1. So tonight, what I want, because we have a special meeting on the 6th, because we met with the fire chiefs and about other things related to zoning and all of that. So tonight, I really just want to talk about the scope, and then the rest of the stuff we'll talk about at the special meeting about zoning. But the main reason I want to talk about it tonight is that because we want to get this before the town board, and if there are any major objections to it, I wanted to address, give, have a couple weeks to address those before the town board meeting. So, having said all that, what are people's thoughts on the scope? You think it's fine?
I think it's fine.
So the other thing is you should have noticed I sent an email to all the other advisory boards. Requesting that they think about having someone represent their board at our meetings, our special meetings for this project. I've heard from a couple of people. Not a lot, but we'll see what that results in. What I'd like to do, if we approve this scope tonight, I'd like to send it out to the same group.
Right.
So that they see this before our special meeting, but I didn't want to send it out until we discussed it here.
Yeah, that was my only thought.
Yeah.
With that, and then narrow down the scope, so whatever, I mean, if we're gonna narrow it down for a meeting, so,
Right, when we're in the meeting, that you're right. One of the things we should probably do, I should probably do is actually publish an agenda for that meeting, so we know what we're talking about for those special meetings, but.
Were there minutes from the last one we had?
Oh, I think I was supposed to send something to Joy.
They were pretty big, though.
I mean, it was really just
we had a
time we had a meeting, we started at this time, we discussed the zoning and.
But so that each board, each committee member might want to know when their topics coming up, what they're.
Correct. So you're thinking we should publish if they identify a liaison, we should publish a agenda.
It might not just be a liaison, it might be the chair. And the chair might want to come.
It could be.
Yeah.
And the last meeting, didn't we have a recommendation for dealing with data centers?
Did we actually make a decision on that?
Oh, we did.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that needs to be in the minutes. Yes. Yes.
And those kind of things should be brought to the next action meeting for.
Next week.
If there is any real directions that we want to give to the rewrite. Put that into this meeting.
Right. So I think the recommendation, as I recall, John. Was we were recommending that. Data centers, regardless of their use, whether they're crypto mining, AI, whatever. Would be limited to 5,000 square feet and allowed only in the light industrial zone.
Correct.
Is that it? Yeah. So, so that was what we talked about. Is that what everybody agrees to? Yeah, okay.
And scratch it out, wait.
Yeah. So that's, I don't think that's anything we need to vote on, but that's our recommendation as part of this, as far as this is concerned, is that. Our recommendation that came out of that meeting was.
So, yeah.
Yep, and again, the intent of that and the proceedings are to be able to get in front of the town board what the phase one zoning update will look like, so that.
What we need to get out, what I'm trying to get out of this meeting, right, that part, that's part of the recommendation, that will come out of this, but the phase one. What we need to get in front of the town board right now is this, right, the scope.
Yep, so one piece of that would be the data center piece.
Right. Well, but I don't think we part of. They need
Can I ask a question about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is me not being as informed as I should be, so I apologize upfront for the question. Is the town allowed to limit how many data centers there are? So, if we become a data center friendly town that we're okay with 5,000 and suddenly we've got 15 different companies that want to open one, is the zoning able to limit the quantity?
Well, first of all, the light industrial zone there's really not a lot of available space in it. So that's going to limit it somewhat. But that's a good question.
Well, I think your point's very well taken, and we definitely need to think about that. In other cases where we've thought about density limitations, our consultant recommends things like you know, within a certain much larger area, you can only have so much of a given use. Because you're absolutely right, we wouldn't want to have 35,000 square foot data centers.
Well, there's a lot going on with those, trying to find locations for them, so it's not a crazy idea that we could end up with
Oh, that.
lots of requests.
And what I'm saying, John, is I don't think that's our final, I don't, I know we talked about that, but I think.
Right.
That was one of the things that was gonna come out of this phase one was a recommendation on data centers. And I wouldn't say that was the final. It was gonna recommend to her that this is what we're thinking, but then there's gonna be discussion and a final recommendation as part of phase one.
And then the
What-
town board might say, we don't care. for that.
And the town board may say, we don't care for that.
Right.
That's absolutely right. So this wasn't this is not a final decision about what zoning is gonna say. This was sort of our recommendation to the person writing the zoning, what we think we want to do, I guess is the way I would explain it. If that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense.
that makes sense. Yeah.
But the main thing I want to get out of, what we need to get in front of the town board right now is this phase one scope. I don't think we need to give them a recommendation on the data centers for this coming meeting.
Right.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, but
Yeah.
before the consultant starts to write zoning language, we would like to have the town board agree with the general principles,
Right,
right, that they're
Right.
based on,
right,
and that would be one of them.
right.
Yeah. So along that line, I didn't understand planning tasks. The first one was finalize scope of work after town board and further planning board input. And Nan's only got $120 for that, so that's an hour.
Mhm.
And it seems to me that there's a lot there. That's to take the fairly general stuff that we gave to her, and that we're gonna have much more specific language for the town board to be able to look at and say, yeah, I understand what they're trying to do here. And so how does that happen with an hour of her time?
Yeah, more hours still.
I didn't,
Well, or have it be more clear who's doing the work. Who is writing the more specific scope? I didn't understand that.
I thought she was.
Well, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
So I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking at the down the road stuff, but I was trying to figure out just in the next couple of months, as this gets off the ground. What are the exact pieces that happen and who's doing them? So the deliverable, I think, for this first piece, as she wrote here, is a final scope of work. And when I read that, to me, it means that that's a chapter and verse going through all the different pieces of zoning, that it is our intent to either create new ones or modify the ones that are there. And then a brief description about what the modification or addition is, so that, and then it's not writing the specific language, it's just saying, whatever that we think we're gonna have, instead of site plan approval required to have a duplex, that's gonna be by right, and that's what it would say for that one. And that all of the scope elements that are in phase one would be delineated that way, so that the town board can understand what it is that we're getting into. And then, assuming that gets blessed, then she spends the detailed time putting it in. So is that what you guys are thinking?
Yeah, that could certainly work. Can
Yeah.
we put that, like, using the 30-page audit report and using that as kind of an index to go through a scope of work? Or do you want a separate 3-pager that really expounds on what each task is?
When I created that straw man scope, I thought she wrote back and said that it needed to be improved. Those are my words, not hers, but she said something about that was a starting point, and that would be clarified or
are you thinking she doesn't have enough information to do this? To spend an hour and finish it?
I don't know. I I don't know what the document looks like that we put in front of the town board, which lets us get from them a yay or nay on all the specific things that we're trying to accomplish, which I think is the next step, right?
Well, I thought that's what this was. This is what we're
Yeah.
getting in front of the town board to tell us what to give a general description of what the.
Her answer was the 12 points here,
Well,
but it's
right.
not really, it's a lot of trust in that. It's not really.
Right.
deep.
Right, I would think that the main thing is that she wants enough detail in there that whoever's bidding on it is bidding on reality of how much work it's gonna be. Am I wrong in that?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Well, we're intending to go back to Nan to do this project, so it's not for an RFP's purpose, but.
Okay,
Right.
so it's not for her to develop a quote or pricing. That's not the issue. Okay,
So for example, item 6 from the scope, housing related updates.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that housing related updates means, removing regulatory barriers to things that we want to have happen. And then what are those specific things? Like making more things by right,
Road frontage.
yeah, I mean, all of them, and they need to be spelled out. In order for the town board to know what it is that she's writing zoning language about. I thought that was, the next step, of course, is to get the contract in place so that she can get started. But there needs to be a deliverable that is more specific than my straw man was on what we're doing.
And more specific than the audit document with the comments inserted.
Well, I just highlighted her audit and I had, a few lines of text in there. Or why
You want something more specific than that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought she acknowledged that when she looked at the straw man, that, so I was thinking that would be the next step, that, there would be a whole lot more detail there.
Yep.
And maybe that's what she has in mind, I don't know.
Well, for 1 hour task, it's not gonna be, I think you're on more like a 10-hour scope of workers.
She's got a boilerplate of it somewhere.
Well, she may think she does, which is the audit and,
It's worth asking her.
yeah.
Make sure we get what we're looking for and she.
So you think, John, we need to do more with this before we give it to the town board to ask them to approve the contract?
Well, let me ask, what are you thinking we're gonna give to the town board right now? My straw man?
No, this.
That,
But this doesn't say what housing related update means.
that's pretty general.
It couldn't be any more general. It could mean that we're gonna tighten the screws and make it more difficult to do things.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, we need that. The town board needs to understand what we're thinking about and.
Well, is that something we could get an answer out of
We could.
in the next week before our next meeting? As we meet next week, right?
Right.
Good possibility, yeah.
And then we can make the decision next week.
So I just want to make sure we know exactly what we're asking her. And really it's to,
More detail.
So item 3, data centers, crypto, like we talked about at our last meeting, that we had a couple lines that, well, here's what that means, that we're thinking 5,000 square feet, da, da, da. And then the same thing for battery storage, that, well, what does that mean? That we think there should be no battery storage, or that we think it's okay, given the discussion that we just had with the fire chiefs? It needs to be bulleted and spelled out. All of these things do. Or otherwise they'll have no idea.
Well, maybe that's something we should do when they give it to them. Because some of this we probably know better than she does. I mean, like,
well, I didn't think this document was to make specific recommendations about zoning. I thought this was setting the scope of what we're going to work on.
is that all? Okay, that works too. Then I can use it. If it's just a general idea. Oh, yeah.
I don't.
I'm confused though, because it said this first planning task is finalized scope of work after town board and further planning board input, $120. So at the end of this first planning task, there is a final scope of work, which to me is what I was talking about. It's the detailed description of what we're gonna do. So,
To give to the town board, yeah.
yeah, so,
Mhm.
like I said, I didn't go through the whole proposal in detail. I think it's probably fine for getting started. I was just trying to find out, what are we gonna be doing for the next couple of months? In order to get the town board to either agree or not agree with the general principles behind the zoning update.
Maybe she's expecting us to do some of that work.
Well, which is fine, but then she needs to say it. So it'd be nice to have a table that goes along with this. That
Isn't-
says, she does this and we do that.
Isn't that what we're trying to hire her to do?
Yeah, but you wanna communicate with the town board, because if you go too general, then they're gonna be like, well, what does that actually mean?
Tony, it is what we're hiring her to do, but again, to me, when I read the first planning task, what is the deliverable for finalized scope of work? Well, it's a finalized scope of work. It's a
yeah.
detailed scope of work.
And that's not it. I see where you're going with that.
Otherwise, if the town board just says, yeah, this looks good, have at it, guys, and then 3 or 4 months from now, we give them zoning language and they say, well, that's not what we had in mind.
Needs to be a little more detailed. I got it.
Right, but I don't think it should, this should not include recommendation. This shouldn't necessarily include recommendations of what the zoning will be.
Agreed, 100%.
Because that's what we're hiring her to do, is to make recommendations as to zoning language. I thought this document was to get the town board to agree to hire her to work on this project of rewriting the zoning.
Oh, I think it is,
Okay.
but when I
Change
Yeah.
that sentence to something else.
I get it. So maybe this needs to be a little more detailed, but I'm not sure she needs to spell out all her recommendations in this document, because all we're trying to do here is get the town to approve the funds.
Oh, no, I
hire
don't think
her.
they need to be here. What I'm saying is that the first piece of the scope of work is to do that.
Okay,
And how is that gonna happen for $120?
all right. So what we need, all right, so what we're going back to her is to ask her about that one task, and can we expand on what that task is?
Or, yeah.
Just to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, okay.
That, by the end of March by the end of March, which it's a little ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the end of March, we've got a document that is more specific than her zoning critique.
Right,
And that it's specific to phase 1. That's the first deliverable.
right.
And so, first of all, we need to make sure she's on the same page, that that's what we're after. And then we need to understand who's gonna do it.
Right, okay. All right. So we need to go back to her, have her update this a little bit. Before we hand it off to the town board.
Just answer that one.
Just answer those questions.
That one line.
I guess then my other question is, so if that's the case, if we're sending it back to her for the moment to ask her these questions. Or this particular question. Do I want to distribute this to the other advisory boards yet or not?
Well, what are we gonna do next week?
This would be one of the things, so what we're gonna have to do is. One of the things on the agenda for next week will be. If she's responded to this, because that's where we'll have to vote to. Pass it on to the town board. My concern was, if we're gonna vote on something there to pass on to the town board, we need at least 4 people there
Next week.
next week.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're not gonna vote on passing this on to the town board now, and it sounds like we're not, because we have some questions. But if we wanna pass it on to the town board before their next meeting. We would need to vote on it next week, which means we'd have to make sure we have at least a quorum.
Can you be here?
I'll be there.
I can be here.
Yeah, I'll be here.
You're for it. You be here
When is this?
next Thursday,
Uh,
6:30. And we don't have to
No.
do 6:30 anymore.
It's 6, isn't it?
It used to be
Say
6:30 because Joe had a.
Oh,
Joe's not with us.
I have it down as 6. Here,
I had 6:30, which is why things got confused today, but I'll be there, but I'm not a voting member, so I don't know if that helps you any.
oh, because Joe's conflict with energy, right, so,
So we can do it. So why don't we do that? And then we can work on maybe an agenda.
And I'm fine with this document. I just want to make sure that we understand that finalized scope of work. The deliverable for that is a detailed scope of work for phase one,
Right.
which we can present to the
Town board, right, right. But we're not at, we don't need that for them to approve them
No.
hiring her. That's the point I was trying to, this document is to hire her, right? But yes, let's, yeah, I get it. I
Yes,
get it.
and again, the thing that jumped out at me is she had
Yeah.
$120 there, and I'm thinking, how do we?
That's
get
an
that?
element, yeah, I get it, I get it.
So it felt to me like we were not on the same page.
So. Just trying to get in between here, it seems to me that her planning process. The finalized scope of work. Is not what she presented us here,
No,
so what she's done so far is not. Payable. She hasn't charged for this. Or is that the $120? That has a dead,
That'd be something future.
timeline of March.
it would be future, I think, yeah.
Well,
I don't think this is the finalized scope of work.
no. So we don't have to vote on this now. We can Wait till next week.
We can wait till next week,
With the town board,
See.
till the week after.
right?
And going, further down into the details. Like the third block there, policy discussions with planning board. To ensure that the policy direction for changes is understood.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right,
So. There's a lot of, she's basically given us, it's not cut and dried, this is what we're doing.
correct,
It's an open process.
yes. A lot of the
Right.
dollars are in those areas where we're talking about. Like she's meeting with the town board, she's meeting with us, she's meeting with other interested parties. About policy direction. Right,
Right, that's part of her scope of work is she's gonna do that work.
right.
Why don't we pick this the next week and
Kick it to next week.
and then we could come up with an agenda next week to send out to the other community members that might be interested in what we're working on.
So my question is, should we can have that on the agenda. That we're gonna discuss this document, should I send this document out to the other committees, I guess is what I'm asking.
Probably could, since it's not
Sure.
that one line, so
Yeah.
it might change, but it
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
really
yeah,
matter.
I mean, we'll have discussions about it, but I could certainly.
Yeah.
Send it out, what I'll do is I'll send it to, rather than sending it to entire boards like I did that initial invitation, I'll send it to the chairs.
And what will we work on next week?
We're gonna work on. The reviews of these, we have the discussions from the fire department to talk about, because we have notes from the fire department. About the battery storage. I think. Possibly, especially with what Spring brought up, I think, we may wanna revisit the. Data center one to maybe put a little more detail into it, but
Yep.
And
Well, that's the
I think that's the agenda, is I think
Agenda.
those three,
Those three things.
finalizing this piece and voting on this piece to pass it on to the town board to hire Nan for the next part of the project. And then making sure we're before that, making sure we're on the same page with what John was talking about. And then the two other, battery and data centers, because we got some good stuff from the fire department about the battery storage stuff. I thought it was a really good discussion. Yeah. And so that was really one of the main things I was thinking about talking about at that meeting. Was this and that.
So then send that agenda out to the other committee members.
Okay.
If they're interested, just with an invitation, if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
But you might get somebody from the energy.
Yeah.
With the battery storage.
I did have one person, actually, she's on Zoom tonight, asked me if we were gonna do Zoom for these meetings, and I think we do, right? Because Joy.
We can set up in the
yeah,
conference room,
Yeah, that's how Joy's doing it, so we will have Zoom on all these meetings. Like I said, I've heard from a couple of people. I think the decision from the broadband committee is that I could represent them at that one, so. since I have to be at both meetings anyway. But I have not heard from conservation or ag.
So I was at the conservation board meeting last night, and I think John's gonna be letting you guys know, so far, nobody has raised their hand to be a liaison to this committee. So, I
You know,
did what
that-
I could to talk about how important it was. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, because I've looked for it and maybe I've missed it, but would you guys mind sharing that document you're talking about? I spent an absurd amount of time reading scopes of work. So, with a different hat. So I'd be happy to take a look at it if you're comfortable with me looking at it.
The scope document we're talking about?
Yeah,
Yep, that's fine.
I looked through the ones Dan sent me, but I don't think I have that one because I'm sitting in for him.
I think Dan did send it to you. Didn't he?
Okay, I'll double check. He sent me about 12 different documents, and I spent a lot of time looking at the map, so I've got to go back and I'll look and see if he sent me that scope. So
Can send
my
it
bad.
if you don't have it. I can send it.
Straw man?
Which one? No, I think who's asking about this one that we're talking about. Yes, I can send that. I can send that to you. Yes,
Just to have another.
Yeah,
That's.
I went through a 200-page one today, but I don't think we needed that long.
no, this is nowhere near that. This is 4 pages, I think.
So, you know, the definition of scope. For example, the federal government used to have 10 branches, now it has 1, so that's one big scope.
Yeah.
It just be funny.
I got it. Yeah, I get it.
And so basically, I haven't done this long enough, you know, what she's addressed here, these are the we need to discuss and get detailed on.
Mhm.
So that's the scope, she's saying these bullet points, she's not saying gonna put details in right now. We need to put in, with discussions, put in details.
Right.
Put each of these points.
Right.
So
Right.
right now, we should be looking at, is there anything missed as far as a bullet point?
Right.
You know?
Are these general topics the ones that we want to work on in phase 1? And I think they are. I think they're all the ones we talked about. I know there were some people that wanted to do some other things, you know, but I think these are the ones we really need to sort of talk about in phase 1. Did you notice anything that you think is missing? Okay.
I've done it long enough.
Yeah.
And it is a first step.
It is a first step.
It's just a small portion of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it looks good.
Okay. All right.
So I did, just so you know, I did find it was in a separate one. One question I have for you guys is, is he functioning as like the project manager for this, or does this board function as the project manager as far as organizing which committees to talk to and who are the right people and developing schedules? Is that on her plate? Because if it is, it would probably should be in here. Or is this committee function in that capacity?
Who acts as the project manager? I think as far as, I think we are asking her to define things like schedules and stuff, but yes, I think we would define who she should talk to. And sort of the
logistics around when those committees meet or getting those people together and those things.
I think so. I think that's us, isn't it? Yeah, that's us.
Okay.
I mean, I think, you know, one of the things that we're gonna do is, you know, she's gonna help us define some of those things. But yes, ultimately, it's up to us to sort of make sure people are on track and things are on track and. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, like we did the comp plan.
The comp
Exactly
plan would
right.
be similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just asked because I know that can be that can be a significant piece if the expectation was she was doing it and it's not clarified. Okay.
Right. For example, one of the things we're asking her to do is in the public outreach piece is sort of coming up with the presentation, but she's not going to be the one doing the presentation everywhere. Some of that, a lot of that's going to be us,
Okay,
those kind of things.
sorry to be the newbie and ask.
That's perfectly fine. These are good questions. But yeah, so let's, so we will finalize this at the special meeting on the 6th. And is it 6 p.m.? Is it supposed to be 6 p.m. or 6:30? Do we need to be 6 p.m. or 6:30?
again.
We can do 6.
That's what you sent out to.
I know, but
Oh.
he's saying that
It used to be 6:30 because Joe Wilson had a conflict.
Right, that's when we were doing Tuesday meetings. but
Yeah, I thought that was
Tuesday.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. So 6
One
o'clock.
of them that you sent out said 6:30.
I know. Gina caught me on that one.
Yeah. That's why you had sent out 4.
I didn't send out 4. I sent out 3.
I didn't count them. I was just guessing. I was like, they came through.
All right. All right, so we know what we're doing. So we know what we're doing with this. We're gonna go back to Nan with a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Get a little bit more detail. And then we'll discuss this at the March 6th meeting with the hope that we will approve it to go to town board as a recommendation of what we want them to say, yes, go. And then she gets hired, right? We do a professional services contract and then she starts working on this. And John, I'll ask her about that detailed scope, because I think you're right. I think it's gonna take more to write that detailed scope, because that's where it needs to have the more detail.
And, maybe she's thinking that comes out in April or May and it's part of some
Maybe.
later
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
But we just need to understand that we are looking for a phase 1 detailed scope,
Right,
point by point, on what are the changes that we are going to make in zoning.
right.
Well, the changes, the topics you're going to discuss, but we can't put in what the changes are going to be until it goes through
Right.
the public process. So there's like a dance there, I believe.
Her critique of zoning was fairly specific.
Mhm.
I mean, it said things like for housing, that there need to be changes in specific areas for development proposals that require planning board site plan approval, that we should make them by right.
Right. But I don't think it has to be in this document, so long as it says you're going over that, because she's already provided that other document with that information in it.
No,
So,
doesn't need to be here, but we need to produce that.
right, yeah. Awesome.
Okay. All right. Are we done with that for the moment?
So agenda next week is
Well,
battery storage, crypto, and the scope of this work. Is that what we're working on?
correct.
Okay.
Battery, crypto, and the scope of this work.
Okay.
Those are our main topic items for the March 6th meeting. And I think that'll be enough.
Okay.
Because I mean, the fire department, I think the fire department updates are gonna take a little bit of time, so it's, yeah, so I don't wanna. And those are the main things that are pressing, right? Because we need to get this to the town board and then we can start on the battery stuff.
Right, and if you talk to her, you can send out if there's anything shocking. Send
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, so I'll try to get so I need, because of our idea of getting agendas out a week ahead of time, I need to get the agenda for that meeting out tomorrow. Right, so,
Well, yeah, or Monday.
okay, but I can do that. I mean, it's a relatively simple agenda, but yes, yeah, we can. Okay. So I will send the agenda out. Ray and I will work on getting the question back to Nan. And then we'll see where things go from there. Planning department update.
Well, I guess, I'm not sure how much I've told you about recent Dryden Rail Trail happenings. We're trying to get a study of the Etna stretch. And so the local MPO granted us $10,000 to fund that study. Erdman Anthony is gonna do it for us and we'll figure out how to get that missing 3 miles done. And a little piece of that is that there's a Cornell engineering class that's working on a solution for the washout on the NICEAG land. That's the piece about 1,000 yards east of Pinckney Road. The beavers have been in there for the last decade and created a big washout there. So we were recently out on that site, getting the depth of the Dryden fiber cable, and it goes about 8 foot under the creek. But it comes up pretty quickly, and so we'll probably have to be buried a little further just to do some of this ramping and bridge work that's planned.
Please don't cut the Dryden fiber cable.
Yes, that would be bad. So that, yeah, that's nice that we have we're working on that. And then the bridge, we have our right-of-way clearance, and we have a town board hearing coming up next month to approve yet a third amendment to the DOT agreement. This should be the final DOT approval before we can go out to bid on the contract. So with that agreement happening mid-March, I would expect like a end of March, we can finally get released to go out to bid on that. So we go out for 4 weeks, potentially early May, have a contractor selected, maybe about a month to mobilize. So that's about the timeline for the Route 13 bridge.
Yeah.
The only other things are, the 1274 Dryden Road, as you heard tonight, is basically on I would say a 1 month delay. I'm just gonna have the town board, they scheduled a March hearing. I'll have them bump that out to an April hearing. So we will have a cut at it here, the site plan here at the end of March.
That'll be so agenda for next month.
Yep.
Hey Ray, I got a question about the conference.
Yep.
The planning conference.
Yep.
So there was more than 3 people that were interested in going. So I have a counter proposal. So I know there's a limited budget. So why not just pay everybody that wants to go their registration to go to the conference? And then have the other people be on the hook for their other expenses. So that way more than 3 people can go. Because I know there was at least 5 people that wanted to go.
Okay, well, that's,
It's an idea.
I mean, the planning board has that $1,500 training. So even though it takes town board approval, they would follow recommendations of the planning board.
Who were the 5?
Well, because, well, there was the 3 that are going. I think Greg wanted to go. I know Tony wanted to go.
I'm going. I'm already registered.
Oh, so you're paying yourself then? Okay.
And Frank is not able to go.
Okay.
If that's
Frank's
one of
not
the ones
going.
you were thinking of.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I just wanted to keep it open if there was other people that wanted to go.
Mhm.
That was a way to potentially have more people go if more people were interested. Just wanted to throw it out there because that whole process was kind of baffling to me of what decisions got made and why.
Well, Joy went out with a call to see who was interested. We have lots of years when there's only 1 or 2 interested.
Oh, yeah.
This year it happened to be a lot of
bunch, sure.
interest.
Okay, I was just curious. That's why I brought it up. That's all.
Who else going then?
Tony, Chris, and Brad from the planning board, because Frank just dropped.
Okay. So I didn't know that. I thought he was
Oh,
going.
so
Yeah.
So the town.
How much would it cost to send everybody who wants to go? I mean, what's the variance between what we're budgeted for and what the cost would be?
It was $687 per,
Roughly, yeah.
yeah. That's room, board,
Mileage.
conference registration and mileage.
But if you cut that to only be a registration, then you could send more people.
Mhm.
Just wanted to throw it out. If people,
No, but we
As I say, that's.
yeah,
I would
Ray
only,
may have more experience with this than me, but being that we're in a zoning rewrite year, it does not seem unreasonable to me to request that the board use additional funds if we need extra training this year, but I might get my hand slapped for saying that out loud, but I don't know, Ray, if that's something that you think is worth.
So other than Chris and Brad, Frank dropped out. You wanted to go, Craig?
I wanted to go, but I would only go for 1 night. So I could do the commuter, I would do the commuter fee.
You just want to be there for Monday.
For the, yeah, well, I would spend, if I could spend one night, I
Yeah,
would,
yeah.
but I don't need to go to the Hall of Fame. So
So you would go up, you would
go up Monday
go
morning,
up Monday and come back Tuesday?
come back Tuesday.
Yeah.
You going for both nights?
And that's a
Yeah.
$220 registration versus $240.
Yeah.
So give you
Yeah.
a $20 break for
Yeah.
dropping that.
And
I'm
one
coming-
last row.
I'm coming back from, actually.
You got another.
I'm coming back from Albany. I'm at a Rotary conference until Sunday afternoon, and then I'm going from Albany to Cooperstown.
We can spend Sunday then.
Yeah, so I'll be there for Sunday night, but then. But yeah, it's right on my way back, right? So it's like, I'm just gonna go from one to the other. You said you had another one that you're doing for work, right?
Yeah, and I might have to go, I might have to leave to go to another place of the state on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, so,
Go to Rochester.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, I'll straight up through, well, Cooperstown's a little bit. up
Yeah,
through
it's
it,
not,
but-
not so nice.
yeah,
but,
so if you could find another 320. that'd be good.
Okay.
220, 340. Sorry.
Just want to throw it out there, so.
Mhm.
Is there anybody else?
So does this board want to make a recommendation to the town board to
Find more money.
change the, or just add on a one-day registration or?
Well, if you could, I would go, I mean, I'd go for, well, I'd go for one day, but it'd be nice to go for that morning, too, for the next
Tuesday morning.
Morning, so you stay over, right? So you got one night.
one night. So if you could do the commute, do the commuter one, go up Monday morning and then spend the night. So that's the 114 and the 220 for the registration.
Yeah.
You're not paying.
Although the 220, I think it's just for the Monday.
Well, that's
period.
they call it a commuter one. It's for both.
It's for Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's,
okay.
it's for the
Okay.
people that can drive back and forth.
Okay,
Oh, the other one is to get into the Hall of Fame.
okay.
It was that, because they're not doing anything that night on Sunday night.
It's just the opening reception.
Yeah, you're just rubbing elbows with people.
Well, yeah, I haven't seen a full schedule, but they often put a couple of courses on Sunday afternoon.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it. It's just rubbing elbows. Because they give you full access to the Hall of Fame.
Hmm.
So you can go.
So the recommendation, I mean, I don't know what people think.
What do you want
It
to do?
sounds reasonable.
You go.
Well, and Frank dropped out.
But but you're going.
I'm going.
Yeah, so they can pay for your fee. You
know.
know. Yeah. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I just wanted to put it out there in case there was others that wanted to go as an idea.
So right now, they're only paying $500 towards it.
Yeah.
Towards a $687.
Right.
Is that right?
Well, the 687 also includes mileage.
Mileage, right? And
Estimated
meals.
mileage.
And meals.
So the way it's set up right now is 500. We were gonna spend 500 for 3 each. And then, and I wasn't getting reimbursed.
Right, so you can get reimbursed now, but if I wanted to go, they have to come up $335.
Yeah.
Or we could ask them.
Brad's not here to weigh in on it, but yeah, I guess.
Brad.
Brad's good.
Then the other alternative is to not. Nobody paid for. Nobody spent Sunday night, they would say. But you have to spend Sunday.
I have, but again.
Where you coming from? You're coming from Syracuse?
Yeah, I could just go, I could just stay there Monday.
But you're coming home from Syracuse, so you're going right from Syracuse to out there, right?
Well, I'll be going at the end of that conference, out to Rochester. So I can just go. up and
Rochester.
there.
Either or.
I'm fine with distributing, doing using the 1,500 and distributing it with across whoever's going. Is that what we're recommending? Sure. Does that sound?
Okay, so $375 each for 4 people.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay,
You don't need to be reimbursed.
Okay. I will pass on that recommendation.
I thought you don't get that. I thought you.
No, I get the stipend.
Oh, I thought you turned it down.
No, I get the stipend.
Okay.
So I got, that's what I'm using my.
So Ray,
stipend.
I only need the one night then. If I do the commuter in the one night, so that's whatever that is.
Whatever that is,
Okay.
The three.
So I'll have Joy register 3 people. Well, you've already registered.
I've already registered, I'm all
So
registered.
Chris and Brad, full registration, Craig, commuter registration.
Right.
Commuter
That's Joy's
and
part.
one night, and the Monday night.
Okay,
Oh,
and then
and I'll get the
hotels
money.
are on your own
Okay.
for that, then you're
I just have to
reimbursed.
put in.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yep.
So she's already got my application.
Okay,
All right.
so yeah, I'll
Put
just
it-
modify it and have Jason sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just put it down for one night instead of the 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's right. And then cross out the meetings.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. No, that's cool.
All right. John, wanna go? Sounds like a fun time. Okay, is that it, Ray?
Yep.
Any update? Spring, any town board update?
So this is my first meeting with you guys, so I'm not totally sure what you all are deeply interested in as far as the town board updates. I think you probably already know that we had a lovely presentation around the proposal. I think you were talking about before around the proposal around what was the Orchid store on 366. Other things of note in the last month, and this is a difficult one to share, but that the town did not renew a contract with the Etna Fire Department. So that is something you all may have heard about, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. But everyone is well served and well covered by the Varna Fire Department and the Freeville Fire Department. Those are the big things. Are there things that you guys have been, unless you want to hear us talk about budgets and stuff, anything in particular that are things you guys like to get updates on from Dan?
No, Dan would just update us on things that the town board was doing.
Okay. There's a lot of really great work going on with some of the committees, especially a lot of great work going on with the Climate Smart Task Force. So look for information from that. And then of course we could go on and on about how amazing Dryden Fiber is. But sounds like you guys have that covered. So
I am very happy because Syracuse Utilities happens to be working. Actually, this morning I got home to a directional drilling machine sitting in the middle of my front yard. So I'm very happy to see them working on my road. So I'm getting close.
I'm jealous,
Yeah.
but I'll get it eventually. So
Yeah. And so yeah, that's moving along. One thing that people might be interested in related to Dryden Fiber is the town did make a decision to change the primary. You may have seen there was an article in the Cortland Standard about this. Hunt was the engineering firm that was sort of running this whole project. We're actually switching to a different company to do that work. There were some issues related to Hunt, and so we're using a company called Vantage. And this is a company that's done these kind of projects, in like a bunch of different states, and they've installed something like 10,000 miles of fiber.
Yep.
Overseen projects to
year.
install something like last year they did like 10,000 miles of fiber, and our whole project is only a couple hundred miles, right? So so there was a decision made to change that. I think that was voted on at the last town board meeting, correct, Spring? Yep.
yes.
Yeah.
So that was great news.
Yeah, so That's gonna be a little bit of a, you know, it's gonna be a little bit of time here to get them up to speed, I think, on what's going, but there is work, like I said, there's still work progressing, because I know Syracuse Utilities is doing stuff and the splicing crews are working and stuff, so hopefully by the time they run out of work, those construction crews run out of work, that Vantage will be up enough that they can get them more work to do. But
The other
that is a major, from a drive-by, but that is a major change, the change
Yeah.
in engineering.
Yeah, and it's an exciting change that we've kind of graduated to the next
And
level of engineering that we need.
Vantage seems to think that they can complete all of Dryden, all of the remaining parts of Dryden and all of Caroline by the end of 2026. That's what we're talking about. So that's pretty significant. So that's a lot, right? And so again, that's a preliminary. We don't have firm date commitments from them yet. We need to see that, and we've asked them to do that, and they'll be coming forward with that stuff. But we'll see that. But it all looks. I think it's gonna ultimately. I think it's gonna be a good change from what I've seen.
So on the topic of good changes, I'll also share that we changed our contract this past year on who is our dog control officer. And we're seeing wonderful things happening. All the dogs right now that were in the shelter have been adopted. Very proactive, excellent work going on as far as outreach and engagement with the community. And it looks like we will be contracting to also do a dog enumeration in the coming year, which is a good thing. It's a door-to-door to meet every puppy and dog in the town, get to know them, make sure owners are educated around the dogs being licensed. It's a warm and fuzzy all the way around. So if you guys are here about it, please be ambassadors of goodwill on that effort, which will likely start in May or maybe a little later, but it'll be coming.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any other questions for town board issues? Nope.
Hey, Spring, are you the new liaison for the planning board?
I am so Dan's teaching a class this semester at this very moment, and lecturing. So I'm going to be sitting in for a few months. Very excited about it. I am, believe it or not, a bit of a zoning geek. In a past life, I went around and read pretty much every zoning ordinance for all of Ohio and Michigan. So doing research years ago. So it's very near and dear to my heart. So I'm happy to be here.
Welcome to the planning board.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Glad to have you here.
I'm sorry about the mix up and the 6:30 thing. I'm very embarrassed. Dan will have my head. So I will not make that mistake again.
Well, you can blame that on me.
And then if I could just get Dryden Fiber so that my internet won't be. I don't really normally ever have that happen. It's kind of an oddity for me. So apologies. I live on Zoom.
Okay. Planning board liaison to the Affordable Workforce Housing Committee. Did anybody think about this? When are the meetings for that committee?
So Wednesday afternoon.
Wednesday, 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 to 3:30. Wednesday. It's a hard one.
Yeah, it's hard for me to do. I think, yeah.
Did you hear anything from Frank? I know he said he was interested in one of the liaisons.
Conservation.
Conservation, I think.
First Wednesday at 2.
Well, I've started, I've been starting to be copied on all the minutes and stuff, agendas and minutes for that. The only
You'll get a letter from Jason pretty soon.
The only thing I'm concerned about is Wednesday at 2 is gonna be hard for me to get to.
I think you got on that email chain because they expected you to have certain meeting.
So you know how I ended up on it. I showed up for a meeting and then they just appointed me. And I'm like, I get a letter from Jason that says, thank you for serving them. I'm like, when did I volunteer for this? Oops.
All right, well, I'm not hearing anybody jumping up. I mean, I, like I said, I do get. Actually, I kind of like to, be on the distribution of the minutes and those kind of things, but.
Yeah.
And I certainly can, try to show up at meetings I can, but I can't commit to showing up at
We
lots of
just send them a letter that says, or an email saying that there's nobody volunteered, so they put a fight in you. Keep looking for you.
Maybe worth pointing out the difficulty on the time of day.
Yeah, I mean, I can respond to them and say, we haven't been able to identify a person that can make these meetings.
It's hard, plus they change the times a lot, so just be aware of that, because they change the dates. Sometimes
it's not always the first Wednesday.
Yeah. If somebody can't make it, they'll flip it to another date.
Yeah, okay.
So.
I can do that. I can respond with that. Okay, minutes. Trying to bring up my copy of the minutes here. Where did the minutes go? Did anybody read the minutes and have any comments on them?
You did read them.
You did read them. And
No comments.
no comments. No comments on the minutes. Do we want to approve them?
You make a motion?
I didn't. I'm asking you, do you guys want to approve them?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Approve the minutes from 1/23, January 23rd. Second, I'll second it. Any discussion on the minutes? No, all in favor? Okay. I think that's it for tonight. Thank you, everyone. It's exactly 8 o'clock. Oh, it's 8:01. It's 8:01.
You should have done that. Move the minutes.
Yeah, we are adjourning. Our next special zoning rewrite meeting is on March 6th here in the conference room at 6 p.m. And our next regular meeting is Thursday, March 27th, 6 p.m. here. All set? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.